Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new, fresh episode of Uncanny Media, the show. It's me, your good buddy Spider. And I have had a week. Oh my goodness, have I had a week. It's, a lot has gone on. And it all worked out in the end, for the most part. But it leaves some uncertainty for the future. Nothing that's, like, groundbreaking or that's, like, devastating or anything like that. It's just inconvenient. It is inconvenient. And regardless of all that, the sheer inconvenience of it all, it got to me to the point where I had a complete and utter meltdown in my kitchen. I'm gonna get to that. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but it's such a big, like, it was a big reaction over a small thing. And I think you'll understand why I felt the way I did once we get to that point. I'm not going to paint myself as the sympathetic victim here, because I'm not, it all worked out. And I don't feel like a victim. I never feel like a victim. I don't have a victim mentality. But I was pretty frustrated. I was hot and bothered, as they say. But how are you? How are you doing? Before we get into all that, did you have a good holiday? Did you enjoy your Easter holiday? I did not do anything particular. I mean, I did some things, but not for the holiday itself. I stayed home while the family went to visit extended family down south, as they do. And I stayed home because, again, I don't celebrate religious holidays. I don't get into that kind of thing. And I did a 5.5 hour stream over on Twitch, and you can watch the replay of that on YouTube. If you aren't following me on Twitch or YouTube, my Twitch channel is DMGRGN, and my YouTube channel is Spider Does Things. All of these podcast episodes end up on YouTube after the fact. So if you don't use Spotify or iTunes or even hear on Spreaker or whatever, you can listen to them on YouTube at Spider Does Things on YouTube. But that's what I did, and I made the closest I nodded towards the holiday was in the food. Because for me, holidays are synonymous with food. Thanksgiving, obviously, is about the meal. But Easter has always been about ham and deviled eggs and things of that nature, right? A big old ham and deviled eggs. Christmas is usually all kinds of foods. It's similar to Thanksgiving. It's you got turkey, you've got stuffing, you've got all that kind of stuff. The same kind of thing you'd have at Thanksgiving, but also with more sweets. You have more sweets with Christmas dinner, because it's all about cookies and cakes and things of that nature. And Easter, of course, is Easter candy when you're a kid. When you're an adult, I don't know. If you're an adult and you're still eating Easter candy, you know what? I'm not going to judge you. I'm not. I bet you thought I was going to say something like, you should reevaluate your life. No, you can go ahead and do that. By all means, have fun, have at it. It's very likely you only get one life. Maybe you get more than one. I don't know. We'll all find out in the end. But if you only get one, you might as well live it up. But I don't do that. I don't do the Easter candy thing. I let my kid enjoy hers, and I don't. Because she gets a basket when she goes to visit family down south for Easter. We don't do the baskets here at home. Just like we don't do the Christmas trees and we don't do whatever, we don't celebrate the holidays here at home, but she's free to celebrate them elsewhere if she chooses. But what I did was I got a modest a modest 2 pound ham from the grocery store. It wasn't even 2 pounds, it was like a pound, 1.79 pounds or something like that. I don't remember. It was some, it was small. I didn't have a lot of money to spend, which is part of what we're going to get to later. That's part of my frustration, okay? Not the ham, but the money to spend on the ham, okay? Let's make sure we all follow along. So I got this little tiny ham, because I'm only feeding me. I'm not, the rest of my family is vegan. I'm the only non-vegan in my immediate family here. They don't eat ham, so I do. So, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it in the crock pot. I'm going to slow cook it so it's all nice and tender and everything. And I'm going to put in, I have some cabbage in the freezer, and I put in some cabbage, some sliced cabbage. And I got it all cooked up during my stream. I got it all cooked up. I didn't cook it long enough. It wasn't quite as tender as I wanted it to be. It was still a little tough, but not bad. I mean, it was edible. It wasn't like it wasn't something you couldn't eat. It was done. It was cooked, but it just wasn't that level of fall apart tenderness that I wanted from the ham. Okay. But anyway, I've got it. I got it all done. I put it on a plate to cool with the cabbage, and I was going to be able to serve it to myself on smaller plates afterwards and just, enjoy it. I had gotten these every so often. I eat fast food. It's very rare because it's expensive these days, and it's because I'm trying to be a little healthier and not eat fast food all the time. But the last time I'd had something from McDonald's, I'd gotten sauces. I'd gotten hot mustard sauce. Now, you may wonder, if you are not from Ohio or places in the Midwest, what hot mustard sauce is. Because it's not something you can get at every McDonald's nationwide. It is not a normal part of their menu. Hot mustard was a big flavor in the 80s and the early 90s, and they largely discontinued it through most of the market. The only places they still keep it is in Ohio and a couple other Midwest places, because apparently we love it. And I like it. I'm a big fan. It's a dark orange mustard, okay? Because it's got some kind of spicy something in it. It's not real spicy, but it has more of a kick than regular mustard. Hence why it's called hot mustard. And it's best if you serve it a little warm and not like straight from the fridge. It's hard to describe. You have to come to Ohio and you have to try it. If you don't know about hot mustard, you gotta come here. But I had some little packs of that left over. And I thought, I'm going to put this on the ham. I'm going to dip my ham into it, and, it'll be delicious. So I had it out on the counter. I had the ham cooling with the cabbage on the side, and I had a couple of packs of the hot mustard. And while I'm streaming, I hear a crash. And of course, knowing what I was going to find, I went in there, and one of the cats had jumped on the counter and knocked the entire plate, the entire platter, onto the floor. But not wanting to waste a good ham, I collected it all from the floor and I rinsed it under the faucet in the kitchen. And I still ate it. Because, it was cleaned off of whatever might have been on the floor and whatever else. And I had paid for it. I wasn't going to waste it. And I'm not sick. I'm obviously not suffering from food poisoning, so it didn't cause me any issues. But, the cat had even gone so far as to take a bite into the unopened pack of hot mustard So he wanted not only the ham, but he also wanted the mustard, which is not good for him. The big jerk. And in rinsing the ham of all of the detritus it might have picked up from the floor and various cat hair, because there's always cat hair if you have cats, it washed off most of the flavor. So I didn't have much to go on with this ham other than dipping it in the hot mustard. So it was a pretty bland event, all things considered. So that was my Easter. That was my Easter holiday, such as it was. And the family got home later and we hung out, and that was fine. But let me tell you about something else that happened before then. Just a few days beforehand. On Friday. The Friday before the holiday. And it's Friday itself, around Easter time, is a holiday for a lot of people. It's called Good Friday. I don't, it has to do with a sequence of religious events and things of that nature, and I don't remember the exact all of it because I don't pay much attention because I'm not into it anymore. I used to know that by heart because I was raised religious, but once I gave all that up, I stopped thinking about it. So it was Good Friday, so a lot of institutions were closing early or were already closed, as far as like financial, government, etc. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now here's some background. This is a bit of a convoluted connection story, but just follow along, it'll all make sense. My house, on the one hand, I own the house by virtue of a contract I signed for all intents and purposes, but it is a rent-to-own program. It was explained to me when we first joined up with the program to move into the house that while we are on paper renting the home, a certain amount of money from that rent is going towards the payment of the actual house, and we're slowly paying for the house itself, and at some point after enough renewals we can decide to do a buy option on whatever is left of the capital on the home. But for all intents and purposes, like we have a landlord, but not in the sense where if we have an issue, like something's broken in the house, we don't call the landlord, because it's assumed that we are buying the house, it's our house. Even though it's not technically in our name, we're renting to own. The contract states that we have to treat it as if it is our home, and we're making like mortgage payments. It makes sense, and it made sense at the time, and it's not like a scam, because it's worked out very well for us for a long time. Part of the issue is that we have not, every time we've gotten to a point where we've thought, okay, our credit is good enough, we can probably afford the down payment, we can go to the bank and we can get the mortgage and we can get the house completely purchased, so it's our house and we're not doing renting and we're officially just making payments on the mortgage. And then something happens. The car breaks down, or a pet gets sick, or something happens and we don't have the windfall that we need to cover those costs, and we have to just renew the agreement for another span of time. And we've been doing this repeatedly, and the landlord is very understanding. They've been working with us all of this time. We've had a cost of living increase over the last couple of years because of the way the economy is, which has hurt. We've had to pay more on the payments, but it's just the way it is. But because of that, and because of all of the other the prices of so many things going up, utilities have gone up, the groceries again, and I hate to keep harping on this because I know people are sick of listening to it, but the groceries have not gone down yet. They're still high. So it's difficult sometimes to make a big house payment every month when it's due. So what a couple years ago, the landlord signed on for a new program. It's a website that allows, instead of us having to go down to the office and pay him with a check or with cash or whatever, we can now pay online. So he's modernized, right? And he goes through this thing that connects. It's a national landlord database thing, and they connect your address, and you can pay your landlord through that. So we were doing that, and then that program upgraded further. It joined up with another company to allow installment payments. Okay? Now I know this is starting to get complicated. Bear with me. What this other company did was, if you don't want to pay your rent all in one go because maybe you're having financial trouble like we have been, they allow you to split it up into multiple payments. Up to like 4 different payments if you get paid weekly or if you get paid bi-weekly or whatever. What they'll do is they'll pay the total rent for you. And then you will pay them back in the installments plus a minor fee. And that's how they make their profit, from that little fee off of the total. It's not multiple fees per payment, it's just one fee, and then that's it. So you pay a little bit more, but you get to split it up. So you're paying less per time frame, and they pay the rent for you. Okay? And I usually split it in half. I usually split it between, because we get paid through my wife, her job, we get paid bi-weekly, so we get 2 paychecks every month. So I put half the rent on one paycheck, half the rent on another paycheck. And that lets us balance things and pay our other bills and generally get by and hopefully not be overdrafted all the time. And that has worked out for quite a while. It's been maybe a year, maybe longer, that I've been doing this installment plan. It's never given me trouble. Every once in a while, the paycheck comes through a day after when the payment is due or something crazy, and then it's maybe late by a day, but we always pay it through and there's no late charges on it, and it's fine. It all works out. It's never any issue where I've missed anything. So, recently, the end of March, and I didn't think much of it at the time, but at the end of March, my bank, which is a credit union, upgraded their online banking system. And they gave me plenty of heads up. It wasn't something I didn't know was going to happen. I saw it coming, and it wasn't a big deal. Didn't expect much of it. They upgraded their system, made a whole new app, so the old banking app we had was defunct, and you had to download a new app, and you had to re-enroll in online banking with your membership information. Okay? Not a problem. I handled all that. Everything looked fine. A few days later, on Good Friday, I get a message, a text alert, that says that my payment that I owe the installment company for the rent didn't go through. And I thought to myself, okay, well, it's probably just a goof up between the new upgrade and whatnot. I'll handle it. I was grocery shopping at the time. I was in the grocery store. I got the alert. I'm standing in the checkout aisle waiting for my turn, trying to handle this. So I get home, and I go to the installment company website to push it through, because anytime something has come up where if we've missed it or if there's been a hiccup, you got to go there and say, yes, the money's in there, go ahead and do it, whatever. It's a bit of a process, but it ends up working out. And by this time it's like 3:30. Okay, the bank closes normally at 4:30, but it's closing early because it's Good Friday. Okay, so I try to push the payment through. It won't go through. Now here's where things get complicated and where things led to my meltdown. The installment payment people use a financial security company. So there's 3 parts to this chain now, other than me. There's the landlord, there's the installment people, and now there's a financial services security company that's apparently big. It's nationwide. It's almost they do stuff across the world, I guess. It's called Plaid. And you can look them up. I'm not endorsing them, I'm not saying anything bad about them. I'm just saying because this is important. When you go to their website, there's no direct indication of what they actually do for you, because they deal with all these high finance things, and they're big players in the financial sector apparently, and they handle bank transfers all over the place. But in order to utilize their services for this, you have to connect your bank information and everything so that so the bank knows who they are, and they will facilitate the transfer of money between the bank and the installment company. Okay? It seems like an unnecessary step to me, but I guess it's all in the name of security for everybody involved. So whatever. But apparently, due to the upgrade of the online banking system that my credit union did, it disconnected my account from Plaid, who's the financial security institution. Okay? So they could not verify anything for the installment people to draw the money out. So the installment people, once I found that, I was like, okay, well, I guess I just need to reconnect it, right? Because there's an option in there, in the various apps that you go through for all this, to reconnect your bank account. And it wouldn't connect. And it gave me no further options. It didn't give me anything to, it didn't say, hey, go here to troubleshoot this. It didn't say, do this. It just said, oh, well, you can't do this. Try a different bank, was the advice that it gave me. And I only have one bank. I only have the credit union. I do not have multiple banks. So I said, well, okay, if I can contact somebody in these companies, I can have them look into it and I can get it fixed. Because I couldn't talk to the bank because the bank closed early. The bank itself closed early that day, so I couldn't talk to them. Because they don't have a 24/7 service. They're just till 4:30, and then because it was a holiday, they closed at like 3 or something like that. I don't remember what the deal was. So I attempted to talk to the chat function in the app of the installment loan first. It's a robot. It does not have a person. It's a robot with a bunch of automated responses, and you have to pick from a list, and you have to say things. And I went through it. I tried to explain what was going on. It didn't understand. I asked for an agent or a representative, like a person, and it said, we are not able to do that. We're not connected to that. So I started getting frustrated. So then I tried to look on the Plaid website, and the Plaid website is a maze of things that have nothing to do with what I'm trying to do. It's this vast monolithic company that deals with vast sums of money worldwide, and it's oh gosh, I couldn't deal with it. I was like, I need to pay this. This has to get paid. And I just completely broke down in the kitchen. I had tears. I was just falling apart because I was just, how am I supposed to pay this money? Because every person I talked to was a robot. It's just AI that's dumb as hell. And I'm going to say something before I finish how this story goes. This is an issue. The chat bots, the AI chat bots that companies are using now to attempt to filter out easy problems so that they don't have to have tech support and they don't have to have representatives and whatnot, and they can cut these positions. These robots do not work. They are a failure. They cause more problems than good. They do not make any attempt to fix the issues you actually have. If you have anything other than the most basic problem, you can't, it won't work. There's nothing to be had about it. Like, they run in circles asking you the same questions. And it's been a common problem for a few years. This isn't the first time I've run afoul of online chatbots. And I'm sure it won't be the last, because so many people, so many companies are going towards this model to try to avoid having to deal with issues directly. They just want you to give up so that they don't have to deal with it. And it's so frustrating because these chatbots do not know how to fix the issues. If it's a real issue, they don't know what to do. They can't fix it. And if they don't have the option to connect you to a human person who can listen and try to figure out, okay, let me see what I can do about this. Let me contact my management team. Let's put our heads together. If they don't have that function, then you end up just in circles and circles and circles, and then you can't do anything. And in this case, what irritated me the most was I felt boxed in because I couldn't pay a bill that I should have been able to pay. I had the money. It wasn't like it didn't go through because I didn't have the money. It wasn't because I was trying to avoid paying it. I wanted to pay it. I wanted to pay it and get it done, and nothing I did could get it paid at that moment in time because the chatbots were stupid. They were dumb as hell. They would not connect me to a person. Eventually, finally, I found some email addresses for support. Which was not easy to find because they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to email them or contact them. They had no phone numbers. There was no phone numbers to call and talk to anybody directly. Not that I like talking on the phone, because I hate talking to people on the phone, especially businesses and bills and whatnot. I hate it. But it would have been preferable to talking to the robot that was dumb as hell. That's the phrase I'm going to continue saying. It was dumb as hell. So finally, eventually, I found emails. And I emailed both the installment people and Plaid, which is the financial go-between. As of today, it's Tuesday, as I'm recording this, I have not heard back from Plaid. It doesn't matter. I resolved the situation, and I'll get to that in a minute, but still, the fact that Plaid seemed to be the issue here with connecting with my bank, because for some ungodly reason I have to have them in between the installment people and the bank to get this paid, I haven't heard back from them. They apparently don't care. But I talked to the the installment people, and I got an email through to them on Friday. They contacted me telling me they'll look into it. And that's all it was. Then there was the weekend, which was the holiday weekend, so nothing was going to happen then. Yesterday I get an email back, and they tell me it's obviously not a problem with us, it's a problem between your bank and Plaid. And we recommend, just like Plaid did, we recommend that you use another bank to pay for this. And I sent them another email and I said, I do not have another bank. I don't use multiple banks. Why would I do that? I don't keep my money spread out that far. I have one bank. How do I pay you? Can I call you? Can I call you up and give you a credit card number or whatever? I have the money. Can I pay you? And they said, well, we don't do that over the phone. They sent me another email. They said, we don't do that over the phone. But they asked me, they were like, are you sure you have the money? Like it was, like that was the sticking point. Like they seemed to be hung up on the fact that I might not have the money in my account. And I sent them another email. I said, yes, I have the money. If you take it out today, you will get paid. Please take my money. And eventually, a couple hours later, they did. They sent me an acknowledgement email that said that it processed and they were putting it through. I don't know how. I don't know if they were able to fix the issue with Plaid. I have no idea. But they got the payment. That's paid off. Now I just have to wonder if I can still use them for installments or if it's going to deny it. Because I don't know if they've fixed the issue. Nobody along the chain of all of these things has been able to tell me if the actual issue between the bank and the financial people and the installment people has been corrected. I know they were able to take the money out this time, like they were able to take it out previous times, but does that mean this particular issue that happened this time is solved? I have no idea. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It is such a mess, and it's because of these big companies outsourcing their customer service and their technical support to robots that have been programmed with specific responses for specific situations. And if the robot is not equipped to deal with a situation that's outside of those parameters, what are you supposed to do? I've dealt with companies that have had the option where, okay, well, you can bypass it and you can ask for a human representative and eventually it connects you to somebody. But in this case, nobody did. In this case, there was no option to connect to a person at any point of this chain. If I could have talked to the bank directly, maybe they would have figured it out. I don't know. Or maybe they would have told me, well, it's not up to us. It's between you and the people you got to owe money to. We just send the money out. Which would be fair. It would be fair because it's not necessarily their fault, but it is their online banking upgrade that broke the chain initially. So, but everybody else, and like I said, I still haven't heard back from Plaid. So I don't know if they're still even involved in the process or what. I have no idea. And it's that bit of uncertainty that frustrates me to no end, because especially in a situation where I can understand if I don't have the money and if I missed a payment on a bill, and you're coming to me and being like, hey, you missed this payment. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have the money. You're going to have to wait. I can understand that's on me, right? That's on me. But in this instance, the money was there. I wanted them to have it. Not that I want them to take my money, but I mean, you get what I mean. I was like, here, this is for you. You need to take it. How do I get it to you? And so many parts of this chain were just like, no, we don't know how to do that. We can't take that. We can't do this. And I'm just like, how do I give this to you? Because you do want it. You do want the money. And if I don't pay you in about a week, you're going to be after me about it. You're going to be on me. You're going to be like, hey, you missed this payment. Where's our money? So... So that was my weekend. Plus with the cat trying to eat my ham dinner and it being flavorless and awful from that point on. So it's been a week. It has been a week. Oh gosh. And there's been so many other things going on too. It's been crazy out in the world right now. Like, it's just a crazy time. We're still dealing with this Middle East thing that's going on. And then all of a sudden we're getting these weird tweets from the president about how he's going to go on a murderous rampage and destroy an entire civilization. And I'm kind of like, are you serious? Like, who says that? Who does that? Like, that's the same thing that they say to us. They over there they chant "Death to America," and they want to destroy the entire society and replace it with theirs because they think theirs is ordained by religious reasoning. And here we are being like, oh yeah, we're going to destroy their entire civilization overnight if they don't stop doing what they're doing. Like, it's madness. It is absolute madness. Let me tell you about something else too other than that frustrates me. I might have to look for a new distributor for my music. Not for the podcast stuff. The podcast stuff is all functioning fine. It's all automatic. There's no issues. It's just everything works the way it's supposed to with little to no input from me. But my music, I release it through TuneCore. Now, there are multiple distributors and publishers that independent artists can go through. You can go through TuneCore, you can go through DistroKid, you can go through RootNote, which I have a few things through, and you can go through Ditto. Ditto is a new one I heard of, and I'm kind of interested in. Haven't made any major steps yet, but I'm interested. I have been with TuneCore, gosh, my entire music career. And it's funny how that happened, because when I first moved to Akron, Ohio, to be with the woman that I thought was going to be the love of my life. I've told that story before about how that all fell apart. But when I first moved there, I was trying to do my music. I had demos out. I had yet to record a full album. But I was close. Okay? And I got a call from somebody who said they represented a company called A&R Select. A&R is a shorthand for artist relations, whatever. It's a legitimate field of go-between people who connect up-and-coming artists with record labels and with radio contracts and with various things, okay? Now, I don't know how legitimate, after all is said and done, I don't know how legitimate all of this ended up being. I honestly don't know. It did give me some tools that I've used to this day that have been very important. But I got a call from this guy, and he said, "Hey, yeah, if you want to submit your music, we've seen some of your things online, because I was putting them up on like MySpace and SoundCloud and various places, right?" And he was from California, and I was like, "Hey, there's a talent scout from California. He's heard my music. Oh my goodness!" I was super excited, and I was impressionable. I didn't know. He said, "Hey, I have a program that I can get you enrolled in. We can push your music. We can get you where you need to be. It was like $300 for a lifetime membership, is what it was pitched to me as." And I was like, "I don't know if I can pay for that. That's a lot of money." But eventually I managed to save it after not too long, and I paid it. And the guy gave me emails with various websites and various things, and he set me up with different things. One of those websites was TuneCore. He said, "This is how you get your music onto iTunes and onto, digital streaming platforms and things like that," which were still kind of new at the time. And I said, okay, so I did all that. And after a while, I didn't hear back from him anymore. I used to just try to send emails, try to contact him, like, what are you doing for me? Because I thought it was going to be like he was my agent and he was going to help me get big and get famous. And I think they took my $300 and then ran. Because I think that's what the deal was. I think that's what the business was. Get somebody some websites so it looks like, hey, this is the big time, and then take the money and run. Because I haven't heard back from them in, it's been decades now. Like, it's been far too long. Who knows if the company even exists anymore, or if it was real to begin with. I don't know. But he did give me some websites that I still use today. TuneCore is my distributor. And when I did finally finish my first album, I released it through that, and it's been on worldwide distribution. And I've released every single album, for the most part, on that platform since then. Despite the fact that their customer service has gone way downhill since I started. I've still used them. But that's the background. That's how I got connected to it. And I learned a lesson. That some people will come off as very wise and very learned, and they will look like a great option, and they'll charge money for their services and give you only a trickle, and everything else you have to figure out on your own. In which case, you could have done that anyway, so you didn't need to spend the money. So that is one of the only times in life that I was truly scammed, I feel like. But I still won out in the end, as far as it goes. So TuneCore, they handle my distribution. I upload my albums there. They send it to Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, all kinds of places. And they help me collect my royalties and whatnot. And it's generally been a beneficial arrangement for me. Some years ago, when I was trying to release the album Aeons, which is my most controversial, transgressive album because I was such a dark period in my life, I felt the entire album was explicit. Whether it had bad language on it or not, I felt like just the overall themes, because it dealt with some dark things for me. I talked about wanting to do violent things to my family and to myself and to depression and various things. Nothing that I acted on. Like, I didn't do these things to people, but it was such a, because I was wrestling with so many bad feelings at the time. I was going through such a dark time in my life. I needed to get it out, and this album was my release. It was my healthy release rather than doing any of these things. So, but every track to me was explicit, so I marked the entire album that way. TuneCore got this stick in their backside about how I was only supposed to label tracks that had actual explicit language as being explicit, with mature content ratings and things like that. And they refused to release it until I fixed it. And I tried to email them. I told them, you know what, this is a very personal thing. These songs are very, they mean certain things to me. They are all explicit to me. They're all mature warning things, trigger warning kind of stuff. I mean, the people listening to this might get set off. It's got to all be labeled. Every single track has to be labeled with explicit warning. They refused to do that. They were like, oh, well, unless you have swearing or this and that in every single track, you have to go track by track and give each one whether it's got the mature, whether it doesn't. And I tried, and I eventually lost my patience, and I said some things that were not nice, and they stopped answering my emails on that album. So that album wasn't on streaming services for a number of years. It's only returned to streaming services last year. And I think that album came out in like 2019 or something. No, let's see. It came out the year my daughter was born. My daughter is 11 now, so it came out in like 2015. Maybe 2014, to be honest. 2014, 2015. And it took 10 years for them to communicate with me on that to get that back out. So I had started getting a negative opinion of them over the years about that. And recently, my new album is coming out in June. I've mentioned this before. It's coming out June 5th. I think it's June 5th. Is it June 5th? I should probably double check. Let's take a look. January, February, March, April, May, June. No, June 6th. It's June 6th. Okay. Leading up to that, I have a listening party on June 2nd. I'm going to be doing on Twitch, where I'm going to play the entire album in its entirety. I'm not going to port that to YouTube like I usually do with my other Twitch videos. It's only going to be if you show up on June 2nd on Twitch, you'll be able to hear the album before it's released. And that's your only chance to hear it before it's released. So I sent an email to TuneCore, because they also handle the copyright things and make sure that I'm getting paid for all that. So if somebody uploads one of my songs or uploads a track to one of their videos or does something with that, then they will tell them, hey, that's under copyright. You owe that money to the copyright person, or you can't put it in your video. That kind of stuff, which is fair. I sent them an email saying, hey, I'm going to do this listening party. I want to make sure that you don't flag it with the automatic algorithm stuff as a copyright violation, because it's me. It's my album. It's my music. I'm doing the listening party. Please don't mute it or mess with it or do anything like that, okay? I just want to make sure that everything goes through fine. I don't want to get hit by a copyright strike from my own copyright, because it has happened with people before. Got an email back, He said, oh, sure. All you got to do is let us know which websites you want us to whitelist, quote unquote. And these websites will not get hit by copyright whatever in the future because you own the content and it's your whatever. And I said, oh, that's cool. That's great. So here's the two websites. I gave them my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel because occasionally when I put stuff on YouTube of my own music, it'll get flagged and I'll have to go through the dispute process and be like, yes, I am the copyright holder. I'm the one who uploaded it to TuneCore to begin with. And it works itself out, and usually it's fine. It's not an issue, but it has to go through the process, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. So I said, you know what, go ahead, yeah, whitelist those two, because that way I don't have any problems in the future. Perfect. Didn't think much of it. Got an email back from a different person at TuneCore. They said, oh, well, we can't whitelist third-party websites that don't conform to certain blah, 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 and you need to do this and you need to do this. And I was like, it hit me. It hit me wrong. And I was like, you know what? I am the copyright holder. I own all of this. It's all mine. Both of these websites are mine. They're not third parties. They're not operated by other people. They're operated by me, the copyright holder, the artist in himself. You will whitelist the stuff. It's not a request. I'm telling you, you're going to do it. Cut the bullshit. That's that last part I said exactly word for word. I said cut the bullshit because I was so irritated. Like, the first person told me I could do this, and now you're telling me it's a problem. Got another email a few days later saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and whitelist that stuff. But in the future, don't swear at our people in the emails because it's not nice. And I was like, you sons of bitches. I didn't say that to them, but I was like, all you had to do was do what you said you were going to do to begin with. And I feel like you're playing games with me now. I feel like TuneCore is just a bunch of hands that don't know what each other is doing. I don't know. I think that they're too big for them. They're too bloated for themselves, and they don't know what they're doing at this point. So I had to deal with that. But that's worked out. So it's been so frustrating. Let me tell you. It has been frustrating. But it's all worked out as far as I'm aware. My rent payment got paid like it was supposed to be. The new album is going to come out on June 6th. And let me double check that date, because even though I've said it like 3 times, I want to make sure. No, it's June 5th. June 5th, what am I talking about? January, February, March, April, May, June. June 5th. June 5th. June 5th. 5. June 5th. And the listing party is June 2nd on my Twitch channel. Twitch.tv/DMGRGN. I will be playing the album in full and chatting and having a good time. And that's about where we are. I hate chatbots. Is the way I'm going to end this. I can't stand the way that AI is now in everything, because half the time it's artificial stupidity. It's not artificial intelligence, it's artificial stupidity. There, and I keep seeing news stories about how OpenAI is pulling the plug on its latest model because it's broke its containment and it's out of control. And it's like, I doubt it. AI right now is stupid. For all of its computational power, for all of its logical info scraping, all of that, AI is dumb as a brick. It can't think through advanced situations. It can't comprehend how people think. And it frequently gets the facts wrong. The one thing that you would think it would be good at, which would be trolling the internet looking for the truth, it frequently gets wrong. So, I don't have any faith in AI right now. I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I mean, a lot of people are talking about doomsday, about AI and this and that, and how it'll get access to so many things and it'll make these decisions. AI is stupid. AI is dumb as hell right now. Will it get better? Will it get smarter? Will it have more understanding? Perhaps. I'm not going to rule that out. I'm not going to say it's never going to get to the point where we actually have to worry about it. But right now, it's so stupid. All of the AI that's out there right now is so dumb, and it's easily manipulated. ChatGPT, easy. You just phrase things a certain way, and you can change its opinion, and it will present a different opinion on the same topic, depending on how you steer it. Same thing with Grok. Grok is a little more stubborn. It's a little more kind of like, ooh, about things, but it can be done. Copilot, Gemini, all of these, like, it does not take much to influence it the way that you want it to go. And then it's just dumb. Repeating phrases. A mirror, an echo chamber. Absolutely pointless. And the fact that it's a huge thing in customer service right now, they're putting that in as the first layer of service between you and a company's human element, is just so irritating because it does not work. It simply does not work. And it's like the title of this episode. Golden years in chatbot purgatory. That's where we're at right now. We're at the golden years of chatbot purgatory. And I don't have any suggestions on how to improve that, other than maybe get rid of it and hire some people to answer the phone. Shell out a few bucks to have somebody answer the friggin' phone. That's it. I've had enough. I've said enough. It's another complaint episode, I think, which is unfortunate because I don't like to complain necessarily. I don't want to. I have the reputation of that Simpsons meme of old man yells at cloud. I have that reputation, unfortunately, because that's where it's headed. I just have so many things that get to me like this, and I'd rather not. I'd rather not have that as my image. I'd rather be your friendly neighborhood spider telling you like it is, and talking about Afro Man and Tiger Woods and WWE. Don't even get me started on WrestleMania this year. It's not going to be great. I don't know. I'm not going to elaborate. I'm not. It's too late in the show. We're finishing up. We're done. I'm going to have some food and drink my drink and play some games and move on. But thank you for listening. I certainly appreciate it. We've had a lot of views over the last week. A huge amount of views. And it really means a great deal to me. If you could share this podcast with your friends, with your family, with everybody you know, play it in your car, play it outside of your construction job, wherever you're at, just play it. Let people listen. Maybe they'll resonate with it. Maybe they'll rise and resonate, or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll continue to stew in their feelings of goblinoid jealousy. I don't know. I'm just talking. That's it. We're done. I'm getting out of here. Once again, thank you for listening. Have a good night.